According to the Environmental Protection Agency, food waste and packaging account for nearly 45% of trash sent to U.S. landfills. U.S. restaurants generate 11.4 million tons of organic trash each year. The average family of 4 throws away $1,500 a year in wasted food. While these numbers can be overwhelming, plenty of people are finding creative ways to not only recycle packaging, but to upcycle food byproducts. In Detroit, a city of invention and reinvention, recycling, reuse, upcycling, and salvage are not new. I'm Amanda Saab. I was born and raised in Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn is home to the oldest mosque in the United States, the American Muslim Society Mosque built in 1938, and the largest mosque, the Islamic Center of America, which is the one I go to. Like most in the United States, whether going back one generation or several, my family are immigrants. We came for jobs, for opportunity, for safety, and for a place to call home. My grandparents owned a grocery store, and I helped them sell produce on the weekends. I am a baker, and I am a mother. My love for cooking grew as I baked with my mother and my grandmother. In the kitchens of my childhood, and in the tradition of eating halal, food was and is sacred. I share that with my own daughter, Hannah. Why fill landfills when we can fill plates and bellies, stretch budgets, and share our abundance? With the help of my friends in the Detroit food community, I'm going to make food, not waste. Cities often run on hustle and bustle. Detroit runs on families, family, kin, those who share common ancestry, related people, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents. From the early 20th century through World War II, Detroit's rapidly expanding auto industry attracted waves of immigrants, leading to the city's massive growth. The population had to be fed somehow. For immigrant families, the restaurant business was an outlet for creativity outside of the heavy manufacturing jobs and domestic jobs they may have worked during the day. The restaurant business was a natural entry point into American commerce. Most of these restaurants were mom and pop shops with kids and grandparents filling in as needed. Detroit's family-owned restaurants are still the lifeblood of many neighborhoods. Asty Time, started by Asty Acosta and his wife Ederique, is one of Detroit's family-owned restaurants holding space for community. For chef Asty Acosta, food and family go together. Opened in February 2017 in southwest Detroit, Asty Time is a Dominican restaurant in what has long been a Mexican neighborhood. Asty and Ederique's story is one tied to the auto industry. Before the brick-and-mortar location, the Acostas cooked out of a home in southwest Detroit. They sold lunch at Mexican Industries Southwest, a neighborhood auto parts plant. As Detroit's Dominican community grows and Detroit's palate shifts, so does the success of the Acosta's business. I'm going to see what's cooking. Hey Asty, how are you?
Hi, hello Amanda.
So good to see you guys.
Good to see you too. Are you ready to eat today?
I'm always down to eat, but I'm really here meeting with my Detroit food friends to learn more about how to salvage food and reduce food waste in the kitchen.
In our restaurant, we use everything. It means rice, beans. We always found a way to cook.
That's wonderful. I love that. And it's so cozy and warm and welcoming in here. Can you tell me about like the decorations and how you guys came to this space?
Oh, the decoration is a thing who represent Dominican Republic. Like you can see the colors represent the flag, the Dominican flag. We got tambor, guira, merengue, and that represent our merengue. A friend of mine gave me the opportunity to rent this place, and here we are. Wow. He gave me one condition: don't paint the wall.
So that explains the Mexican artwork in the Dominican restaurant.
Yeah, that's the only Mexican scene that we have. And we didn't erase it because the one who painted, he passed away. It's something that he got in his heart, and then we respect that.
Wow. Exactly. And you and Ederique have such a Detroit story of how you started your business. And tell me about that, like your early days of cooking and how that all came to be.
That day she wanted to squish me. And, it was a beautiful history. One day we went struggling all behind with our bill, and I stopped in a local supermarket and I buy 10 pounds of pork chop, 5 pounds of steak, and ribs, and then grab my bag and get into my house. And I told her, guess what? We are going to start cooking
Wow.
And selling food.
and selling food. Yes.
And I was surprised. I said, what?
And you
And
just
I thought about it a little bit, and then I said, let's do it. So we start calling our friends. They start coming over and buy. So our kitchen was getting little because we were getting more and more people coming over to eat and to buy our food. So we had to move on. And then that's how, when we went across the street, my father's used to live across the street, so he has a bigger place, 2 rooms on the back that were perfect for our kitchen. So we started cooking over there. And as soon as the team was passing on, it was more people coming over, more people
were
coming
packed
over.
out.
So we rent another house, about 3 houses down the street. We moved my father over there.
wow.
And then we started using the house as a restaurant. We put tables and chairs, and it was full all the time.
That's amazing, and like such an inspiring story. Like you had to do something, and you said,
Correct.
"I'm good at cooking. Let me try to sell my food."
Oh,
And
yeah.
quickly your demand expanded. That's like the true like entrepreneurial story of like, you know, meeting your capacity and then growing and then growing.
Exactly.
And now you're here in this space.
Her dream came true, which was to move on and get her own restaurant.
That's so beautiful. And you guys are proudly Dominican. Like, how does your culture inspire how you cook and how you treat your guests and everything else?
Oh, they do love our food because it's Dominican. Our main plate is the rice with any kind of meat. We call the flag, the Dominican flag. It means rice, beans, and it could be chicken, it could be beef. And people support us because our food is a combination of Spanish, Indian, and African.
Wow.
And then we have all those kind of people here.
And a lot of people saying that our food tastes like home.
That's like the best
Yes.
compliment a
Oh,
chef
yes.
could ever
Oh,
get.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Because that's like that comfort, that feeling that you really, you can't buy. That's something you have to experience.
We have good review. I think all the customers who come in here, they are excellent.
What's your favorite food memory? What takes you back and makes you feel good when you think about food?
As a Dominican, we get together on Christmas time, and then that's the moment that we get a whole pig and we roast it in the yard, and then all the family coming and take a piece, and I remember that every December, every Christmas time.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And can you pull some of those memories into how you're running your business now?
We come from a family who like to cook and eat in our blood, and that's why we came out with the restaurant, because people need to eat.
And you run this business as a family.
As a family,
Yes.
yes.
So who all works here?
Our kids, my sister, his sister, his mom, my brother-in-law. So all the family.
And what's it like kind of running a business with your family?
It's okay because we are a nice family. We work together.
Oh, yeah.
We don't fight each other. Sometimes she look me my way, but
That's expected.
We're good.
And how does your family and like your business think about like food waste? How do you prevent that in your kitchen? Especially in a food-based business, your margins are small. So if you have waste, that's money in the garbage. Like how do you prevent that?
Exactly. Yeah.
As a Dominican, we save everything, and then we make a new plate. I have now one time we went to Ederique and we have a family reunion, and my mom make a Creole shrimp and white rice the first day that we get there. But next day, other part of our family come over and we got left over. And she make rice and
With the
shrimp
shrimp together.
They call asopao.
Asopao.
Asopao. Everybody love it. It's like a thaw fried with shrimp.
Ooh.
And then we got leftover because it was a bunch. And then the Thursday, she make a soup. She had noodle, shrimp,
Wow.
and rice,
She had
and
it all
everybody
together.
love it.
It was 3 days eating the same food, but different way.
So what are we going to be cooking up today?
We are going to cook Creole fried fish with camarone on top.
Ooh, I am so excited. Should we head to the kitchen and get cooking?
Oh,
Yes.
skull, yes.
All right, let's do it.
Come on.
Go.
This is our kitchen, our Italian kitchen. Now I'm going to show you how we make the.
I'm so excited. Yeah, hand washing first, always a must before we start cooking. And since I'm cooking as well, I also need to wash my hands.
First thing we do, wash the hand, and let's go. Yeah, this is our ingredient that we are going to use for our fried pan red snapper with shrimp.
Wonderful.
We got olive oil. You can use olive oil or clarified butter, white wine, garlic, salt, fish stock, seasoning Goya, chicken bouillon. Here we have the bell pepper, onion. On the side, we have the best vegetable.
That's wonderful. I love that you mentioned a fish stock, and that's kind of a way to reuse ingredients in your kitchen and create something new.
Of course, what we do with the bottom of our fish, even the shrimp tail, we save it, and then we make our own fish stock.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, using bailey, garlic, carrot, and salt, and pepper.
Wonderful. Well, should we get into this recipe?
Of course, yes.
All right. What's our first step?
The first time we use salt to all of them, just a little bit, sprinkle it all over around. It should be both sides, but seafood, that's their own natural flavor. Garlic.
And for someone at home that might not have this cut of fish, can they use a different fish?
Of course, yes, any kind of fillet. Tilapia, swai, catfish, whatever you have on hand, and it's gonna work out good.
Wonderful.
We put garlic to the shrimp. Now we sprinkle black pepper. If you don't have this kind of pepper, you can use the regular one.
Freshly ground is always better.
I like fresh for more flavor.
Definitely.
Now we turn on the heat.
Wonderful. And olive oil
We are
in?
gonna use olive oil.
And you mentioned butter, so you can use what you have on hand.
Yeah, you can use either one.
Wonderful.
Let it heat a little bit.
And is this a family recipe?
It is.
Oh, wonderful.
It is. My mother, like I said, she's the one who liked to cook, and then she used it. The only thing that she doesn't use the tomato, and neither the tomato paste,
Okay.
but still being Creole sauces. Now, we wait to be a little hot, and moderate heat, and then we're going to add the fish right here, and then we're gonna be cooking for 3 minutes at least.
That's wonderful.
Then am I gonna do the shrimp in this side?
Okay, so I'm in charge of fish. You're in charge of the shrimp.
The shrimp, yeah.
And together we're going to create something delicious.
Okay, we got time to put. This is the first one.
They
Face
got
down.
hit quick.
Face down. Okay.
Wow.
Speed 4 right there. We let this right there for 3 or 4 minutes. I'm gonna add the shrimp. Later on, you wanna
Thank you.
turn it up.
And are there...
Use this one.
Oh, thank you.
It's much better.
Okay.
Use that for the shrimp.
And how do you know when it's ready to flip?
So I have experience already. But for you are the first time, give it 4 minutes.
4
4 minutes is gonna be seared.
Okay, I
it's
need
gonna
to-
be colorful.
Set a timer.
Yeah. You didn't set a timer?
And internal timer.
Okay, you keep it in your mind. I too have one, but you know I'm used to do that, and I have the timing on my head.
Don't let me burn it.
No.
And look at those shrimps; they're already starting to curl.
Yeah,
Woo.
shrimp is good because shrimp take 3 to 4 minutes to cook. When it's turning pink, it means it's ready.
Wow,
Yeah, that's a fast
beautiful.
food to cook.
And are there other ways in your restaurant that you help reduce food waste?
Yes,
More garlic.
more
I
that,
love
yeah.
it. It already smells so amazing. Smell the
Oh,
garlic.
nice.
Wow.
Now we add the wine right here. Oh, we add the chicken bouillon. We add the seasoning.
Wow. And this comes together so quickly that it's like easy to make at home for your family.
Of course, yeah, it is.
And is it important to use a non-stick pan?
Yes, if you don't non-stick pan, it's gonna be a mess.
Right. Those are so beautiful.
Now we're gonna add fish stock, 10 ounce.
Wow.
Onion, pepper,
And if you don't have, all colors peppers, you can just use
you
one
can use the
pepper.
green one pepper, yeah. Me in a restaurant, we use different color to call attention.
Right.
If you use more color, more beautiful is gonna be the plate.
Definitely. How's my fish looking?
It's good.
I
Can
see
turn it
like
over.
the
You
white.
can turn it over.
Okay,
Go
ready to
ahead,
flip?
Go ahead. Yeah, right now. Ready to put. Beautiful.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Oh, look at that char.
Yeah. Perfect. Beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
And you're right, it cooked up so quickly.
So quick. Yep. What we doing is to how you can add little fish flavor in order to have the heat.
Oh,
It's gonna help to cook uniform. Now, turn the heat down.
and let it simmer a little
Let it
bit.
simmer a little bit. Yep.
And it kind of creates like a little pan sauce.
Even flavor. The stock give it flavor too.
Definitely. And I love that like the stock is like used from the scrap, so it's like the second use, but then it's adding so much more flavor.
It's called, yes.
And
Now,
if you had any leftovers, what would you make?
if
with
you got any
this?
leftover, if you got any leftover, when you are hangover, next day you can make a vegetable string fish soup.
Wonderful.
Adding chicken stock. Fish stock. Adding more. If you can add potato, you can add anything like even noodle, if you like, and then we will have a wonderful soup.
That's amazing.
We don't waste nothing. Now we are sauteing the veggie vegetable.
So those are our side vegetables?
Yeah, I use
wow.
clarified butter, garlic.
Butter makes everything better. I
Oh,
love that you're using it in all
course.
aspects of the dish.
Yep.
And for someone at home, how are they going to manage 3 pans on a stove? Like that's
Okay, I use three pans because I want to save time.
Right.
But you can use make the shrimp, put it on the side.
Okay.
And then add the fish, and then make the veggie at the end.
Okay,
Okay?
perfect.
Total together is going to be 20 to 25 minutes. I make it happen in 10 minutes.
I love it. And that's
Because
such a great tip.
when the customer come over, they say, I'm hungry. But if you are at home, they can wait. So no, you gotta
I don't know
wait.
about that. We got hungry people at home too. Ooh, more butter. I love it.
Butter. Now,
That's a-
one of the secrets is chicken bouillon on top gave you nice flavor. Just a pinch, 2 pinch.
That's a secret.
That's the secret. Here we are.
Wonderful.
We're done.
How's our
We
fish?
finished. Now we are gonna plate.
Wonderful. Let's do it.
Yep.
Should I bring these over here?
Score. Okay, one by one. You can
All
hold
right.
it, you want me to hold it?
I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Plate each one.
Yeah, each one, yes.
All right. Hey, who knows? Maybe I'll have a new gig. Working the
Ooh.
line in your restaurant.
Oh, yeah. You are higher already.
Wonderful. Oh, I love that you have like
Yeah,
your
that for
fancy.
decoration, yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You can put 2 on top, because this is hue.
And you get some like fresh flavor from it too. So it's like edible garnishes that add to the plate.
It's called, if you use fresh garlic, if you use fresh black pepper, the flavor is gonna be much better.
Definitely. All right,
Go
shrimp
ahead.
on top.
Plate it on top, yes.
Wonderful. 1 shrimp per fish.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. And some vegetables. Would you like the vegetables on top or side?
On top.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. You put it out, it's gonna be beautiful.
I mean, the colors themselves are so beautiful that it's hard to not love it already.
You can add a little juice, because the juice is the flavor.
Definitely. Yeah, that's where all the butter and the fish stock, all the delicious things that we added are in that juice. Oh, wow.
Oh, how beautiful it's coming up.
It's gorgeous and it smells so amazing. And you can use any vegetables that you have,
Any
anything from your
vegetable.
garden.
Yeah, people love zucchini,
Definitely.
but I use all kind because I like all the vegetable. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
This one, we can add a little juice.
Oh, there you go, to finish it off.
Finish it off. Are you ready to eat?
I'm so excited. It smells incredible. Definitely worked up an appetite. Wow.
It's plated already. Are you ready to eat?
I'm so excited. I've definitely worked up an appetite.
Let's go and
All
try
right.
our delicious plate.
Yes, let's. This smells absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for making this and showing me how to make some amazing seafood that I've never tried in this preparation before.
Oh, this is a simple seafood plate that I came to my idea. It's a family recipe. It's seafood made by red snapper and shrimp, Creole.
It's so beautiful. I can't wait to dig in.
How you like it?
Oh my God. It's incredible. Thank you so much. It's so flavorful. You don't expect to get that many layers of flavor. And the fish. I'm sometimes hesitant about fish. This is beautifully prepared.
I like mixed vegetable because it's flavorful and gave a beautiful color. But you can use zucchini or any kind of vegetable you like.
For someone at home, they can just substitute and serve it with anything.
You can use it with rice. If you don't like rice, you can use mashed potato or baked potato.
Wow.
Also plantains.
Oh yeah. Can't miss out on those plantains. I love rice. I love potatoes. This is amazing.
Thanks.
And all the seasonings and flavor. And it came together so quickly too.
Of course, yes. We have experience doing the Creole sazon or spices.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this incredible recipe and telling me more about your family. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you guys and spending this time together.
This is a family restaurant. We all work together. We have my son, my sister-in-law, also my mom. She coming She fight with me all the time. Because she said, I am the chef. You don't know nothing.
Mom is always the boss, right?
All right, yeah.
Yes,
Yes. And since God, so far we are doing great.
Thank you guys for sharing with me today.
Okay,
you for
thank
coming.
you for coming.
It's so good. I really can't stop eating. We're gonna have to take a to-go box.
Yeah. Score.
We have some over here.
Thank you. Visiting Asty and Ederique's restaurant, Asty Time in Southwest Detroit, reminds me of time spent in my grandparents' market. In a tough industry, having family involved goes a long way, as does a little business savvy. When a family-run business owns their operating space, that's an investment in their family, and their future, and their community. Ownership means never being priced out. Our next chef, Ederique Goudia, is making the move from pop-up to brick and mortar. For Ederique Goudia, growing up in a small town with a food-centric family and a resourceful grandfather rich in agricultural knowledge, the ability to foster family and build community through food comes naturally. Originally from Louisiana, Ederique has fallen in love with Detroit's East Side, from Belle Isle to the Dequindre Cut. Ederique's love for the city has even convinced some of her southern family to move to Detroit. This love shows in the many irons Ederique has in the fire. Ederique is the co-owner of Gabriel Hall Detroit, a classroom facilitator for Detroit Food Academy, a program associate for Food Lab Detroit, and the co-owner of In the Business of Food. I'm going to see what's cooking. Hey Ederique.
Hey Amanda.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. This place is so cool. Where are we at?
This is Brightmore Artisans Collective. So Brightmore. So it started out as a shared commercial kitchen space where small food entrepreneurs could come and actually produce or manufacture their products to sell. And then they also have a classroom space. So they teach classes. I've taught some classes here. And then the space that we're currently in is their cafe. So it's really a beautiful community space. So community members can come in here. Children can do their homework. You can come in here after work or to do schoolwork. And then also purchase products that are made and manufactured by local food entrepreneurs.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that there's so many unique places for food entrepreneurs and people working in food to kind of go and get a start, have a shared space, learn more. I was just at Nick's Drinks with Raven. You can shoot videos there. It's really cool.
One of the things that I absolutely love about Detroit is that there are so many spaces and opportunities for small entrepreneurs, not just food businesses, because Detroit has such a large, like, small business ecosystem where you won't find everywhere. It's really beautiful, and they have all these amazing resources and tools for local businesses.
And you're not originally from Detroit,
No.
but Detroit is now home.
Yes. So Detroit has definitely become home. I'm originally from Louisiana. So a very small town called Wallace, Louisiana, that sits right in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, right along the Mississippi River. It's actually home to the Whitney Plantation, which is one of the only plantations in the United States that's solely dedicated to slavery. So from a really small rural town in South Louisiana. And now Detroit has been home for a while now.
So tell me how you moved here and what your plan was to start your career after
Yeah.
college.
I moved up to Detroit a day after my 21st birthday. I went to college for business management. So when I was in high school, I actually wanted to become a psychologist. I loved people and I wanted to help people. And so probably about junior year, my mom goes, "You're going to be a chef." And I was like, I don't think so. I just never really saw it as a career. And but I was always in the kitchen cooking. I was always watching cooking shows and just really had an interest in food and hospitality. And so I decided, I was like, I want to open up my own restaurant. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe I should go to culinary school first. And so instead, I went and got my degree in business first. I wanted to learn a business aspect inside of it. And then I figured I could go to culinary school later. So I actually got my business management degree from Louisiana Tech University. And then 2 weeks later, I turned 21 and I moved up here a day after. Yeah.
So you were 20 years old when you graduated college?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
I was 20 years old. Yeah, I forget that sometimes. I literally, I looked at my transcript and all of my taken all of my credits, and I was like, oh, well, I'm done, I guess. So I called my mom and I was like, yeah, I graduate this semester. And she was like, but you just got there. I was like, I know, I don't know what happened, but I'm done. And so, yeah, so I graduated at 20, moved up here the day after my 21st birthday. And the only reason I didn't move the day of my 21st birthday was because my mom said she wanted to take me to the casino and get me a drink. And so I was like, all right, then I'm going up the day after. And I've been up here since. So we're not going to talk about how long that's been. It's been a while. But been up here, and my entire career has been in the restaurant industry.
How does your family influence kind of how you cook and how you operate your business and just pull from that Southern hospitality?
That Southern hospitality runs deep. It doesn't go anywhere no matter where you go. And so, I am in the process of opening, along with my business partner, Gabriel Hall, which is a Creole restaurant, bar, and music venue. So we've been doing pop-ups and caterings up until the opening, of course, and thank you for supporting. You've definitely been to several of them. And really, we just want people, whether they come to our events, a catering, or even once the restaurant opens, to feel that same Southern hospitality that I just grew up being a part of. And so you'll find Creole and Cajun dishes at the restaurant, as well as for any caterings and pop-ups.
That's so wonderful. And I have to say, your po' boy is absolutely my favorite that I've ever had. One of the best things I've ever eaten. I still dream about it. So I really can't wait for Gabriel Hall to open and to frequent it and really support you guys in a new way.
Thank you. We're super excited. Very long time coming, and very, very excited, and really thank you. We're honored to have people support us, not just through our events, but continue to support and promote us.
So tell me about your favorite food memories growing up and how you think about food from your childhood.
My favorite food memory is just a good old-fashioned crawfish boil. You know, we take newspaper and spread it on the table, and then it's just crawfish and potatoes and corn and all that good stuff just right on the table, so you're eating with your hands. And the beauty of a crawfish boil is that, we use it to celebrate events. It could be a graduation or a baby shower or even like a first communion. But it doesn't always have to be crawfish boils, or it could be you just wake up and go, you know what, I'm gonna get 20 pounds of crawfish and we're gonna see what happens. Word travels fast, so you end up with neighbors and friends and family that comes over, and then you look out and it's kids running around the yard, it's music playing, and everyone just enjoying good food over a table, all in community with each other, eating with their hands, and it's just a really beautiful experience.
It sounds so like warm and loving, just like imagining how you're describing it, like everyone eating with their hands, music playing, kids laughing in the background. I kind of want to be there.
In my mind, it is the perfect postcard, right? Like if I could take like an overhead shot of, everyone like over a table of crawfish, it's just like ideal to me.
And I know you grew up close to your grandparents and your grandfather farmed.
So my grandparents, my mom's parents lived across the street from us. And so my grandfather had 3 gardens. And so we ate what he grew. I didn't know what it was like to go to a grocery store and buy produce until after he passed away when I was in high school. So he had 3 gardens. We ate what he produced, as well as he raised hogs and chickens. He had a cherry tree, so he made his own wine, sometimes moonshine. And he had a smoker too, so he made his own sausage and smoked it as well. So we literally lived off the land.
That's wonderful. And I think that kind of influences no food waste, because you're growing what you're going to eat, using what you have on hand. Mm-hmm. And how do you use that kind of in your business now? You
make a great point, Amanda. That's exactly what happens. I mean, Creole cuisine is really considered peasant food. And so it's inexpensive, but it is using what is grown. So that's what we do. We just live off the land so that there is as minimal waste as possible. Even in harvesting animals, right? We use as much of the animal as possible so that there's minimal waste. And so even if there's too much of a crop, it's bartering with your neighbor so that none of that goes to waste. It is making jams, preserves, pickling, things like that, so that food, that freshly grown food, right, that you produce with your own hands, doesn't go to waste.
That's absolutely wonderful.
And so even in the business, and we'll even see later today in the dish that I'm cooking, using seasonal items, right, and using those up, I also pickled some green tomatoes because tomato season. But we don't want those things to go to waste either. So then pickling those to preserve them, and I can use that all winter.
I'm so excited to try pickled green tomatoes. I love green tomatoes, so that's exciting.
Yes.
So I know your family and kind of like your culture has like such a huge influence on how you cook. What are some of your favorite cookbooks and different ways you pull inspiration from them?
Yeah, so I have a couple of them here. These are really some of my favorite books. So this is Bryant Terry and Afro Vegan, and although I'm not vegan by any means, definitely raised on eating meat, I do try to eat as seasonally as possible. Definitely going back to how I was raised. And so what I've been doing particularly during this time is buying directly from my local farmers and buying what is in season and then cooking what's in season. So this book has been super helpful with that. And then my absolute favorite is The Cooking Gene. I'm sure you could tell by how, it has food marks, it's a little dirty, just how much I opened this book. Michael Twitty is an amazing and impeccable writer. And so not only does he sharing stories and journeys, he's also sharing recipes. That's super important. So this is absolutely my favorite. And this is a Cajun country cookbook. So this is like from the 1980s. I mean, super old, but these are like the basic, like old traditional Cajun and Creole recipes. That's awesome. So I refer to this a lot. And then Feed the Resistance, really why this book was written and some of the stories and recipes in here. I just love. And so this is another one of my favorite that just really inspires me, not only in what I cook, but in, how I serve my community too.
Definitely. I love Feed the Resistance. I know there's a few Detroit chefs that are featured in there as well.
Yes.
So it's really cool to have that connection in that book. So I know we're going to get cooking something absolutely delicious today. Can you tell me how about that? And maybe we should head to the kitchen?
Yeah. So today I'm cooking succotash. So succotash was one of the dishes really in my family. We would use the final harvest of the season. So to use up again, so nothing goes to waste, use up that last harvest and put it all into one dish. So, some of those ingredients. And so this we're going to cook today because really all of those same ingredients are in season right now.
All right, let's head to the kitchen.
All right.
So tell me what we're going to be making today.
So today we are making succotash. So succotash is a dish that my family actually, what we do is we actually take the last harvest of the season and combine all those ingredients into a dish, again, to reduce as much waste as possible. So succotash is traditionally lima beans, corn, and tomatoes. My family adds okra, of course, and then also the addition of, sometimes it could be like smoked meats or shrimp. To that as well. So today we're making succotash with, of course, the base of all Creole and Cajun cooking is what we call the Holy Trinity. So celery, bell peppers, and onion. And then we're going to go ahead and add in the lima beans, okra, and corn, and then crushed tomatoes.
Wonderful. Let's get started.
All right. So first we want to melt 2 tablespoons of butter in our Dutch oven. All right, so we're just gonna use that as the base. No olive oil, just 2 tablespoons of butter. So while that melts, we're gonna have our fire on about medium low. While that melts, we're gonna go ahead and cut our bell pepper. So just a nice small dice is totally fine. And what we're actually gonna do with the rest of this bell pepper is we are going to use that to make a stock.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so again, reducing as much waste as possible.
Look at those knife skills.
Hey.
And I love how when you're thinking of this dish, you're automatically using all of the vegetable. You're incorporating the vegetable stock, ensuring there's no waste. So for someone at home who's making this, they can either compost or literally make a stock that you're using in the dish.
Absolutely. So I'm actually going to use the scraps from the bell peppers as well as the onion, even the corn.
Wow.
And we're going to make a stock with that. Add a little bit of bay leaf and some salt. And that's it. And we're actually going to use that to then moisten and season the succotash.
That's wonderful. And is this a family recipe?
It is. So again, like my grandfather had 3 gardens, right? So everything that we used in the succotash, he grew.
Wow.
So my grandparents and my mom especially prefers butter beans. I like limas, so that's what I picked out to use today.
So family recipe, but you add your own twist and make it uniquely
A
yours.
couple of them, yes, sometimes. But I will say, my mom is still the best cook ever. So the scraps, we're gonna use that to make the stock.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So same thing with the onion. I'm just gonna use all of that peel, and that's gonna go right into the stock.
I think many people might not know that you can actually use the peel of the onion in your stocks, and it gives it like a nice color too. If you're not using any carrots or any animal product, that gives it like that nice, deep, rich, golden color.
Yes, and you'll actually see it today. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that because you will definitely see it today with the stock that we're making. It does have a really nice golden color that comes off of this onion. And then also the addition of the corn too will make it nice and creamy.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yellow onions are my absolute favorite. Spanish onions are a lot sweeter, but for this dish, I actually just prefer just regular yellow onions.
That's wonderful. And I know Michigan sweet onions come in season too. If you have those on hand, can use that.
Absolutely. All of that, definitely you can use them. So the okra, again, okra is very fibrous. A lot of recipes, and we just cut the tip off, right? And I can even throw that in there for use of the stock as well.
Wonderful.
But the okra, just cutting it into really thin slices.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's like super thin.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, and that's how you reduce like the slime factor.
Yep. Cutting it really thin. It also cooks quicker. So this definitely helps to cut down on the slime, and then just helps to cook down faster, and then breaks down some of those fibers as well.
And look at those chopping skills.
I try. It takes practice.
And you're doing it
sure.
left-handed. You go. And if you had lots of extra fresh tomatoes in your garden, can you use those in place of crushed tomatoes?
Absolutely. Fresh, of course, is always better. So my grandfather would, of course, use the fresh tomatoes out of his garden, as well as the fresh okra from his garden. He would, I love the smell of fresh okra because it reminds me so much of my grandfather. Oh. He would harvest, pounds and pounds at a time, and he would sit under this shade tree with his straw hat. Not always wearing a shirt, right? In the Louisiana heat, he would sit under the shade tree, and with a paring knife, a handmade paring knife that he made, he would literally slice this okra for hours at a time.
I love how you have such like a fond memory of him, and it's connected to food. And now when you're like cooking, I'm sure you're channeling him and his energy and all the beautiful things that he's taught you around food.
Yes, definitely both him and my grandmother, because they were really my first introduction to food. And particularly just being, I was granddad's little girl. So I was always in the gardens with him, whether it was picking strawberries or shucking corn,
wow.
Shucking peas even. And sometimes he would cut the sugar cane down. So, you ever had sugar cane?
Yes.
So you know how much of a treat that is for kids?
It really is.
So we're just gonna come back here, and we're gonna add the bell peppers first. So we're gonna go ahead and get that going. Right. While that is going, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this stock. So so I have a couple of bay leaves already in the pot, and so all of the trimmings from the peppers, the onions, as well as the okra, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in there. I'm just gonna add some cold water.
And how long do you usually cook the vegetables down to make the stock?
Usually you can do, and honestly, any little as 30 minutes to, an hour or two. So we're going to get this cooked down pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. So probably about 30 or 45 minutes we can get that stock cooking. All right, so our bell peppers are starting to cook and get a little tender. So now we're gonna go ahead and add the yellow onions that we just cut up. All right. I love my Dutch oven. It's either a Dutch oven or a cast iron.
It's beautiful, one, but it's also so versatile. So for someone at home, if you're able to get your hands on a Dutch oven, it's such a great tool to have in your kitchen.
It definitely is. All right, so now this is a perfect time to add our okra.
Okay.
And you'll start to see, once we add our okra in, you will see it get a little slimy. Not much, and again, cutting them this small actually helps to reduce that slime. We're gonna cook these down until they get nice and brown as well. So you're starting to see a little slime through there. But again, that secret ingredient we're gonna add is just a capful of vinegar.
Oh, wow. And if someone's making a dish with okra, the trick to reducing that slime is the white vinegar.
Yep, just one cupful of white vinegar to help cut that slime down. And really by the end of this dish, you won't even be able to tell that okra is even in here.
Oh, wow.
And then you won't see or taste any slime at all. All right, so we can just let that go. While we have that going, I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up our cutting board just a little bit. And we are going to actually cut our corn.
I'm excited to see how you do this.
Yeah, so I do. So I actually cut this inside of a bowl. Doing it just on a cutting board. One, you want to make sure that you have a flat surface. But cutting in the cutting board, now there's corn like all over the table. So it's easier to just cut it inside a bowl.
Wonderful. That's a great trick.
It is a great. I think you just got hit by a piece of corn.
It's always fun in the kitchen. It's part of the experience.
Yes. So I cut corn this way, and then I also, if you want to use a cutting board, cut it like this as well.
Oh, wonderful.
And then turning it and cutting it. So
and what would you do with those cobs?
So the cobs, we're actually going to throw that in the stock as well. And we can just break these.
Wow. All right. You're like using every bit of all of this vegetable. I truly see how this is like your down home, like country Creole cooking, like using every last bit like you explained to me. And it's so wonderful that, you know, you're reducing waste but creating something so flavorful and delicious.
Yeah, I truly think that when you use, you know, the most that you can use, that's the more flavor you're infusing into your food. And so, you know, that's definitely one of the things about Creole and Cajun cooking is that we want to infuse as much flavor as possible, you know, using the least amount. Because like I said, it's peasant food, right? So we want to make sure that we're, and also spreading our food as much as possible. So you'll even see we use a lot of rice to make the dishes spread. Let's check on our okra.
Oh, wow.
Yep, so it's starting to brown.
Get some nice color.
Yeah, which is beautiful.
It already smells so fragrant.
Isn't
the
it?
onions.
The onions and the bell peppers, absolutely. And like I said, I absolutely love the smell and the taste of okra. So now that our okra is starting to brown, see there's a little bit of slime going on there, but really not too much. This is the perfect time to add our lima beans.
Okay.
So the lima beans have been soaking overnight. So these are baby lima beans. They've been soaking overnight. You can soak them as much as 24 hours. It's also, they make them cook quicker if they're a little bit more tender. If you're looking for your succotash to be cooked pretty quickly, this will take a little bit over an hour. Go ahead and parboil your lima beans first because that's really going to take the longest. So we're just going to go ahead and add lima beans.
And how many cups of lima beans do you have?
So this is about a half a pound.
Okay. Half a pound. And if you have a different bean, like you said, your mom prefers butter beans, so you can substitute.
You can absolutely substitute, you know, and maybe you prefer pinto beans or red beans or even black eyed peas, right? You can always substitute those. So these are fresh. Again, I just soaked them down. So now we have the lima beans going in there. Also, some of the addition of the water. Now you don't have any slime coming off that okra at all.
Right. It's almost like a magical transformation. You first see that slime.
Absolutely.
You add your vinegar, you add the okra, you add the lima beans, and then the slime is gone.
Yeah, we're good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add our corn.
And this seems to be like a big meal. This will serve how many people?
So this will serve about 6 to 8 people, and particularly because we are going to serve it with rice. So again, another way to stretch this for sure. But yeah, and look how, I mean, it has legumes, you have your corn, you have your vegetables, you have your okra. I mean, it's just a really nice hearty dish. And like I said, this can be served as a side dish, but also can be served as an entree. So again, a lot of times we would even add, whether it's like smoked meats or shrimp, things like that to the dish. So now you have a protein in there as well. And it's a complete meal.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we are just going to let that go for a little while our stock starts to boil. But now that the corn is in there, we can go ahead and add our crushed tomatoes. So now we're just going to go ahead and add the crushed tomatoes. And again, if you have fresh tomatoes, that is, of course, absolutely perfect to add those. All right. So that is now nice and colorful.
And it smells incredible. With each addition of ingredients, it just smells more fragrant. I think it's almost time for lunch. I'm getting hungry smelling this.
Hungry. For sure. So yeah, so nice, beautiful color. You got your green, you got some yellow in there, and now the addition of the crushed tomatoes. So now we are just going to leave it uncovered. We're going to lower our heat just a little bit. This is also the perfect time to add our bay leaves, which we're going to take out later, but that adds, it's a great aromatic, and then salt it really well.
And talk to me about the salt, because this is a specific type of salt, and people at home might not know the importance of having a good kosher salt.
Yeah, good kosher salt is super important. It's definitely not the same as table salt, so it's important to be, you know, when you have those differences, that you understand, because you don't use kosher salt the same as table salt, right? So just like it really is to taste, but you know, a tablespoon is like totally fine for a dish this size. And then of course the secret weapon is always hot sauce. Louisiana is absolutely my favorite. So just a couple dashes. Now this won't make the dish spicy, right? It's not really meant to make the dish spicy. But what hot sauce does is the vinegar in the hot sauce brings out some of the natural flavors. So it's really just used as an enhancement. So it won't make the dish spicy at all. It's just kind of bringing out, helping to bring out some more of those really amazing flavors. All right. So we are just going to let that go uncovered for a while. And then what we'll do is when the stock is ready, we'll add some of the stock and then cover it.
Wonderful. And you mentioned like serving it with rice. Are there other things that you can serve it with?
Yes, again, as a side dish, it could be standalone. And we traditionally do serve it with rice, right over just plain white rice, but you can use quinoa, you can use brown rice, you can use couscous if you wanted to, or again, just standalone.
That's wonderful.
Yep. So today we also are going to garnish it with some pickled green tomatoes.
Ooh.
Green tomatoes are in season. They're super plentiful. And so again, to reduce waste, I was trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with all these green tomatoes that I have outside of just doing fried green tomatoes or making fried green tomato po' boys, right? So I took some and pickled them, and we're going to use them as a garnish for this dish. It really is really great, the addition of acid, and then the texture, the crunch is awesome. But also, you know, I can use now these pickled green tomatoes throughout the fall.
I love how you're not only thinking about waste, but you're thinking about the flavor aspect, the texture aspect, and that's like truly like one of your gifts. And I think something you do so well in all your dishes is like really like being creative and mindful of all the different components that make a dish amazing. And that's always what I get when I eat your food.
Okay, so Amanda, this stock is just about ready. As you can see, it's starting to get that nice golden color. So again, we just have the scraps from the bell peppers, yellow onions, some okra, as well as the corn, bay leaves, and salt, and we just have a vegetable stock.
That's so wonderful, and I love that you're completely eliminating your waste in the kitchen by doing it in this way. And I think people at home can now learn how to make a delicious vegetable stock. You know exactly what's going in there. There's never really a need to buy it from the store when you can make it so quickly
Absolutely.
at home.
Yep, super quick, and just again using the scraps from what I put in the succotash.
And you can freeze this to use it
Absolutely.
later?
You can freeze it, and what some people do is actually put it in an ice tray. So you can just take out, little ice cubes at a time.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. So like this now, this can go in, of course, in our compost bin.
And let it cool.
So, yep. We're just gonna let that cool. And I'm just gonna put it over here to drain.
Perfect.
So now we have this really beautiful and flavorful vegetable stock, and we're just gonna add a little bit at a time to our succotash. So that's going good there. So we just wanna moisten it a little bit. All right.
So when you're saying like add a little bit at a time and you're moistening it and you're stirring it, almost reminds me of risotto. And making it in this way, like adding a little liquid, stir, stir, stir.
That's a good reference, Amanda. I never thought about it like that, but you're right. It's like risotto. I think I have a love-hate relationship with risotto. I think many people do. But
Definitely.
yeah, so moistening it a little bit at a time. You definitely want to get some moisture so that those beans can cook. And then but then getting that tomato really like nice and roasted too. So at this point, we are going to go ahead and cover it. All right. We're going to let this cook. All in all, this is going to take a little bit over an hour. And the biggest thing is really until those lima beans get tender. So we're going to stir it every 15 minutes or so, add a little bit more stock if we need to, and then continue that process until it's cooked.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to eat. It smells so amazing.
I'm just so excited. And really, I'm really happy to share a meal with you, Amanda.
Thank you.
It's
Likewise.
been too long.
It really has. I want to talk more about food waste in the United States and why it's so important for you and why you care so much about this.
I don't think a lot of consumers know or understand that 30 to 40% of our food supply is actually wasted. That's a lot of food. Not only is it a lot of food, but in our country there are so many people that's food insecure. And that's really important to me. And so as a member of this community and as a member of this ecosystem, as a budding restaurateur and chef, it's really important that we utilize as much of our food supply as possible so that it doesn't go to waste. And frankly, also as a restaurateur, I mean, I can directly or have better control of my food costs, right, by reducing my food waste. So utilizing, again, scraps to make my own vegetable stock instead of going and purchasing it definitely helps to reduce my food costs.
You don't have to be a restaurateur to, save food and reduce waste. You can just be, person at home cooking for your family, for yourself, for your friends, and really implement some of the tips that the chefs have taught us, like yourself, in reducing waste.
Absolutely. It's just as simple as using some of the scraps, just like I did here today. And we all do it, right? Whether it's cutting the ends of a bell pepper or onion or the cob of a corn. It's just that simple to throw it in a pot, add some water, a little bit of herbs and salt, and now you have your own homemade vegetable stock.
I love it. Well, I can't wait to taste it in this dish.
Yes, dig in.
All right. Oh, man. Wow. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I love the textures and that pop from the pickled green tomatoes on top. That is so special.
Thank you. That's probably my favorite part of the dish too. Or definitely are the pickled green tomatoes. And the dish just reminds me so much of my grandparents and like my parents and how I was raised and how I grew up. And that's really what how food really nourishes me. It's one thing, yes, it's nourishing to the body. But at the end of the day, cooking, being around food, being in community with other people, around food, that nourishes me in a different way where it really, has me thinking about more of my ancestors and also just reminiscing about where I'm from and my grandparents and my parents.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing such a nostalgic and special recipe with us. It's absolutely delicious. I need another bite.
I am too.
Another bite.
I am too. And I love how the dish, it kept some of the crunchiness from the corn. So they're not super tender. And I also love how tender now the lima beans are because they cooked for a while down with the tomatoes and that stock.
I love it so much. Thank you for sharing this with me.
Absolutely, anytime. And you still get a little bit of that crunch from the corn.
Definitely. And the tomatoes on top, the balance of textures is perfect. With the recent bone broth trend, we're reminded to use the whole animal, very much a part of how I grew up. Using the whole animal reduces food waste and is an impactful way we can respect the earth. While most of us think of broth coming from the bones and skins of chicken, turkey, pork, or beef, Asty showed us we can use a fish broth to enhance the flavor of a dish, and Ederique included vegetable broth made from vegetable cuttings or scraps. By thinking creatively or digging into our own family recipes, we might discover easy ways to find use for what we consider useless. We'll see you next time!